The Guns on Pegs podcast is brought to you by iTap Group. Hello and welcome to the Guns on Pegs podcast with me, George Brown.
And me, Chris Horn.
Chris, how you going?
George, I'm a guest on your podcast.
You've not been on one for ages. You're too busy. And I expect you've been shooting all the time, which is why you've not been able to do it.
Can you imagine? Like the good old days when that would be a regular complaint. No, that doesn't really happen anymore. I've had a few shoot days though. Couple.
Yeah, we talked about your back-to-back days on the previous episode.
Just after I was last on, we've had. Do you know the key to a seat? Someone said to me the other day, we're having this lovely, the classic, lovely debate on the way back from a drive. Oh, what's the favourite part of a shooting season? And there is no answer to that. It is all of those different bits. Because if one of them didn't happen, it wouldn't be a shooting season.
It's a very good point. I think it's sort of a first world problem. How many is too many days? How many is not enough? I certainly at one point last year felt like, oh, thank goodness I'm not shooting this weekend. But that is very much a first world problem, isn't it? Oh dear, I've got too much shooting. Speaking of which, though, we've had lots of fun days here on the farm, which you've heard about sort of in the office and what have you. And in fact, on our most recent one this weekend, our guest today was present. So you might as well go ahead and introduce our guest.
So yes, our guest today runs her own media agency, helping brands to develop their digital presence. She was wildlife and field sports photographer of the year for 2021, the Swarovski Optic Field Sports Photographer of the Year, no less, and is one of the driving forces behind the Why Moorlands Matter events, which we've definitely spoken about a fair bit on this pod, and we're going to be talking about more because things are developing, because she is now CEO of Conservation Communications, which I'm looking forward to hearing more about. She is, of course, a Scrypound countrysider, for those that are familiar with George and I's thing that keeps us busy every hour of the day, which is going very well. A YouTuber, a beekeeper, which I didn't know. And when she's not doing all of that, importantly, the thing that got her involved in all of this in the first place is that she goes picking up with her trio of gundogs, Bear, Pippa and Milo. So please put your hands together, put the whistles down, the leads to one side, and welcome to the podcast, Emily Graham.
Hi, guys. Thank you very much for having me. That was a good intro, Chris. I can't believe you didn't know I was a beekeeper. I've written about it on Scrypound.
I've forgotten. I just forgotten. And now you said that, I remember it.
Yeah.
Bear, Pippa and Milo, breeds?
So Pippa is a Cocker Spaniel, and then Bear and Milo are Labradors.
And is Chris right in saying that picking up is sort of what embedded you in the shooting world in the first place? Was that the route in?
Not quite, no. So I actually, where I grew up in Weardale is a big grouse community anyway. So I used to go beaching as a teenager, and then I worked in grouse lodges kind of in later teenage years into my early 20s. And then I bought Milo, I think 2019 I got Milo. So started going out with my friends with their dogs, and then I'm slowly collecting dogs. So picking up is now what I do in the field.
I knew that, by the way. I don't know why I actually said that picking up was your intro. I think what I meant is it's the bit that keeps you going and it keeps you getting out now, because obviously Weardale, being an area that I'm lucky enough to frequent from time to time, it's one of those areas where if it wasn't for shooting, not a lot else would be spoken about. I think that's a brave comment, but it's one of those places which absolutely needs shooting, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's a very rural valley, and it's basically farming and shooting. There used to be more industry there, but that closed when I was very young, and so now it's basically shooting and farming.
Good shooting and farming.
Yeah, it's pretty well known for its grouse shooting.
Good. Right. Well, Emily, the way we like to kick podcasts off, as you know, is with a round of What's That You're Drinking. Now, Chris, you have engagements immediately after this recording. So what have you got today?
Yeah, well, I can't work out if that's you telling me that you think I've got a drink problem, so you'll put podcast recordings on Monday at 3:00. Or whether this is just happens to be with the diary.
Or is it possible that I have a drink problem and I'm looking for excuses to drink at 3 o'clock on a Monday?
Potentially, yeah. I've gone to a drink which has been a firm fixture actually on this pod every time that I've been ill. And today I'm not ill. I simply have to do the school run. And even though lots of others in Kent don't adhere to the rule, which is very well known to many, I do. So I'm on a tea, and I'm in my classic Claire Brownlow pheasant feather mug with my Earl Grey. But I also, to complement it, my daughter, who's going to be 4 on Wednesday, made some little cookies, and I've literally just had one because she made them yesterday, and I'm very excited, and they actually taste really good. I don't know how much Fahad Mum had in them, though. I suspect quite a bit.
If I know 4-year-olds, her hands were very much in them.
But they taste good. So, yeah, I'm very happy. I'm looking forward to seeing them in a bit.
Emily?
Well, considering it is 3:30 on a Monday, probably a line that's never been spoken on this podcast. I have a yoga class after this, so I am also non-alcoholic because my balance is bad at the best of times. So I'm on a kombucha today. A mango and lime kombucha.
I think that's a double first for the podcast.
Yeah, it's like a fermented tea drink, but they're really good.
Why would you drink that? Sorry,
they taste really good.
Oh, right,
they're
it's taste. It's not a health.
Sugar. It's kind of, well, they're kind of healthy, I think, but they just taste good.
What, fermented? If someone said to me fermented, I'd immediately think can't taste great. I don't know why.
Oh no, I mean they're pretty popular now, and
Really?
there's all different flavors that you can get. So,
George, are you familiar with these things?
I have heard of them. Yes, I can't say I've ever had one.
But I did make my own sloe gin this year, and I'm out tomorrow with the dogs, so I'll be having my alcoholic drink tomorrow.
Where are you out tomorrow?
Just on a small estate down in Yorkshire. We're picking up tomorrow, so yeah.
Lovely.
George?
Giving more credence to the theory that I maybe have a drink problem, I have got a pint. One of our other guests at the weekend was former podcast guest and scribe pounder Guy Adams. And Chris, you might remember when he came on, he talked about his family's brewery up in Manchester. Well, he brought me 2 20-litre kegs of their Guinness equivalent, of their stout.
Oh. So he thinks you've got a drink problem as well.
He does. It's not 20 litres. Sorry, it's 20 pints each keg. So I've got 40 pints of this stuff. I've just tapped one of the 20 pint kegs. On the outside, it says I have to drink it in the next 3 days, which, given that I'm in London tomorrow and Wednesday, is going to be something of a challenge. It's really nice stuff, and I highly recommend it. So the brewery is called the Joseph Holt Brewery.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the beer itself is called Trailblazer, and it's a stout. It's a Guinness equivalent.
I'd be well up for trying that. It's not the sort of thing that would travel very well from yours to London on the train, would it?
Well, it's already come from Manchester, so...
Yeah, but once you've popped it...
once I've popped it, yeah, probably not. Probably not.
I don't know about you, but I've really... You know how your taste buds change throughout life and things come in and out? Really gone off lager in the last 2 or 3 years. And to the benefit of Guinness and stouts generally. And I'm really enjoying trying random stouts. I feel like we're seeing more and more of them. I had a lovely one called Cold Drop the other day down in Devon somewhere.
Interesting.
And yeah, I feel like we're seeing more and more of them. So I'd be interested to know what that's like.
Yeah, well, an interesting lager-related fact for you. Another one of our guests on Shoot Day was the friend of mine who I've mentioned several times who bought a pub in lockdown. They have just expanded their brewing operation to include making a lager, which a lot of UK brewers struggle to do. And he was saying that it's all to do with the fact that we have very hard water in a lot of the UK, and that, Bavaria and places like that, which are the kind of lager brewing centers of the universe, have incredibly soft water, and that's what helps them to make nice lager.
Interesting.
So there's a beer fact for you.
He needs to come up to Weardale because we have very soft water
Yeah.
because of all the peat.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by all that topic about water, but that's one for another time.
We're going to start a whole new podcast.
Well, I sat next to a guy at a dinner the other night who I won't mention any names, but he got had a little sort of water business going on at home when he was young, and he got certified mineral water status, which is basically like landing on a gold mine, I think.
Yeah.
From that point onwards, I mean, obviously it's a huge job to grow it into a big business, but it's quite an amazing moment. So yeah, topical.
Very good. Right. Now that we've all got a drink, it's time to turn to the mailbox. And Emily, as you probably know, we kick off with a round of Whose Bird Is It Anyway? This is where we ask our listeners to write in and share their shooting quandaries and queries and dilemmas, and we do our level best to help them out. This episode, Chris is going to do the honours with the Whose Bird Is It Anyway?
So this episode, Whose Bird Is It Anyway, comes from someone that George has decided to call Oblomov, which I'm definitely picking up on in a minute. He said, I find myself in the grip of a most tiresome dilemma. I, like many others, am unable to shoot as regularly as I would like. I lead a busy life, and due to volunteering and work commitments, which run from October to January, well, that's bad organisation, I don't get much time to go shooting. Therefore, any shooting I do book is highly revered and look forward to more than Christmas, birthdays, or when the nice man from Berry Brothers and Rudd arrives with another box. This year, I've been very lucky to secure a couple of days shooting over the Christmas period, as traditionally for the last 11 years, my main work shuts down and we're not required in. The boss usually goes in so he can clean the office, and there's a lot of, well, I came in and cleaned while you were out enjoying yourself, to which the usual response is yes. A day's shooting is not the sort of thing that someone books flippantly, mostly for the risk of having to cancel and losing the money deposited. So while booking, I made numerous and probing and direct inquiries as to what our Christmas shutdown dates were this year. You can see where this is going. The response varied from, well, we'll think about it nearer the time, through to same as last year. Thinking this shutdown period was a safe bet, I went ahead and booked it, then spent many months enthusiastically preparing for it, going shopping at the game fair, having my side-by-sides choked, opened out to accept steel shot, and just generally enthusing to friends and co-workers about my upcoming shoot. Imagine a dog with two tails. The end of October approached. The clocks went back and my shooting days got even closer. Then it happened. Horror of horrors. Seemingly out of nowhere from behind a smug smile the other side of the desk. Of course, this year you will be in during the shutdown period to do some jobs. So, my dilemma is this. The boss has spoken. What turkey-based illness can I contract which will allow me 3 days sick leave and which requires fresh, driven air, thus preventing me from coming in? Or given how very openly I have been about enthusing about how excited I am to go away for my shooting break, should I just ignore him? Or is there another option that I may not have thought of? Your thoughts and musings are most welcome. Poor guy. What an awkward situation to have to let your boss down like this.
Well, so as an employer, Chris, give us your take first.
It's slightly different being in our shoes, isn't it? I think shooting, christenings, funerals, and weddings, they're all treated in the same category. Whereas if you work for an average, normal Joe company, shooting definitely isn't in those categories.
Emily, this illness, is there a suitable illness that he can contract and then miraculously recover from?
I mean, I'm self-employed, so I'm probably the worst person to answer this question. But I think considering the boss knew about these days and how excited this person is, I think I'd just be going on the day shooting and dealing with the consequences.
This is the thing. Like, okay, first bit of debate we've got to have. Do you reckon it's obvious the boss knew he was going shooting?
I mean, it sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean, if he's been this excited.
It almost feels like this is a wind-up on the part of the boss, don't you think?
Well, I'm in agreement with you in that it would be safe to say the boss has got a more than likely chance he knows what he's done. In which case, it's one of two things. It's either spite or wind-up, if we're assuming that he knows, okay?
So in the event of a wind-up, then...
Well, if it's spite or a wind-up, is the response not the same?
What, you mean like a fake resignation letter, for example?
Either you're... either way, it's not good, right? You've got to take him on at it.
Oh, it's a brave move. Okay, so how do you propose taking him on then?
I mean, or you just say you've got sickness, because no one can argue with that, really, can they?
I think it's a cop out.
But they're gonna know you're lying.
Exactly. This is the thing, right? He, the boss, knows you're lying if you do that. So
yeah,
I think you've got to go bold.
It's a brave one, though. If you say I've got food poisoning, very few people want further details, and they're not going to ask you for proof either.
That is true.
Or what that proof might look like.
You could go on that new Sora 2 app and then make a very vivid video of exactly what it's like.
Oh, God. That's very
using
bleak.
AI to get shooting excuses. There's a benefit of AI we hadn't thought of yet.
I think the spurious illness could work. Food poisoning is always the right answer if you're looking to skive.
The only problem with these is they're all very last minute. They're the morning of, right? And that is an issue over Christmas. If it isn't a wind up, on the small chance it isn't a wind up or spite, that is an issue over Christmas. How about jury service?
What, on Boxing Day?
Yeah, it's a really big bad.
I mean, I know there's backlogs, but
yeah, no, it's a new policy. We have we're so short of prison spaces, such backlogs that you won't believe it. But this year, I just can't believe my luck. I've been called up for jury service.
But then, how far do you take that lie? Like, do you need to produce a fake letter?
Dog ate the letter.
The danger with the sickness is that you get photographed, or you forget yourself 3 months down the line and talk about when I was shooting at Christmas, or something like that.
That's fine. It's passed by then. It's fine.
Can I just clarify? Is there, if this is you, take it seriously. Is there, in this scenario, given what you think the boss has done, is there any doubt about what you would do if you were in that person's shoes?
I think in this situation, I'd be saying, look, I don't know if you were joking or not, but I'm not going to be able to come in over Christmas. I've already made plans.
That's what you'd do if it was me, right? You'd ring me up and say, look, there might have been a misunderstanding here, but we just can't do this.
Yeah.
And I think that is absolutely the safest option.
Emily, being self-employed, do you get people suddenly dropping urgent jobs on you when you've got other plans?
Yes, all the time. I actually had my first proper week off where I didn't look at a laptop a couple of weeks ago. And before, I didn't have a day off for like 6 years before that. So I just always have my laptop with me. It's always there because I know my clients need things last minute a lot of the time. So I've just had a shareholder update dropped on me now.
Oh, God, while we're doing this.
Yeah. And I'm picking up tomorrow, so I'll have to do it before I go to yoga.
Crikey. We better get on with it.
So yeah, it happens all the time.
Right. So option one is go for the honest, I think you might have misunderstood my hint dropping conversation. We've got a problem here. This is going to cost me lots of money.
I would do that.
That's option one for sure.
Yeah.
It's the most boring option from a podcast point of view.
Yeah, well, we explored all the fun ones before we arrived at the sensible answer.
If he goes, yes, I know, but I need you in.
Food poisoning all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do.
I think I'm with you.
Because you can't argue with it, can you? And you don't want details.
I think you should give details because it'd be funnier.
The more detail you provide, the fewer follow-up questions there will be.
That is true.
I think we need to help him with this. I can't. It's so awkward. If it's genuine, it's really, it's called into question so many other things, though.
Funnily enough, we have a similar sort of dilemma, which is that our family fishing week is either the last week of the school term or the penultimate week of the school term. So if we follow the rules and send the kids to school, then it makes it really hard for them to ever, or basically impossible for them to ever come, and therefore, by extension, for Misha to come on our fishing trips as well. So the question is, do the kids suddenly develop a mysterious salmon fishing related illness the week of our salmon fishing trip every year until for as long as we can get away with it? Do we just say we're taking them out and wear the cost, or do we accept that they're not going to be coming salmon fishing until they're 18?
What you could do is you could ask your mum to stay at home, miss the salmon week, look after taking the children to school, and then you guys have a lovely week in Scotland together. Have you tried that one?
I'm not sure that would fly. My mum quite likes our salmon fishing weeks, I think. But the cost, you know, the cost of sort of unlicensed absences from school is,
go on.
It's charged per child per day per parent. I think it's 80 quid. So for us with twins, and it would end up costing us nearly as much as the actual salmon fishing trip itself to take the kids out of school for the week.
I remember doing some maths on it once, realizing that it was still cheaper to book skiing out of half term time.
Exactly.
The problem is, I used to work in schools in another life, and your children will tell their teacher what they're doing.
Yeah, they can't.
You used to get kids in and you'd say, "Oh, have you recovered?" And they'd say, "Oh, we were at Centre Parks. It was great."
Yeah, this is the other danger.
Right. So either way, he's going, and it's go with the safe bet first. If that doesn't go to plan, come up with something seriously spurious and just go with it anyway. So enjoy your shooting is our message.
Basically,
correct.
yeah.
This is the official Guns on Pegs line to all employees the world over: is shirk your responsibilities, go shooting.
And don't let your boss listen to this podcast.
Oh, and by the way, if you're an employer listening to this podcast, don't do what this one's done.
Definitely not.
No. Yeah, recognize. Cool. Why Oblomov?
He is a character from a Russian novel, the name of which now escapes me, who was famously work shy. That was sort of his entire personality.
Do you read many Russian novels?
I've read the odd one.
Okay.
When I feel I need punishing.
Right. Unpopular opinions, George.
Yes. So this one comes from someone I'm calling Gordon, who writes, "Dear Guns on Pegs team, just a quick note to say how much I enjoyed your recent episode on shoot lunches. Absolutely fantastic. It perfectly reflected the kind of experience we try to provide each week on our local small farm syndicate. Generous, thoughtful, and rooted in proper tradition. I've been generally shocked to hear and see shoot days being offered at cheaper rates with no refreshments, no 11s, and no food provided at all. It's baffling. At our syndicate, we make a point of including at least one food item carried over from the previous week's shoot. It's a small touch, but one that adds continuity and character. Far from being a chore, it actually adds to the shooting weekend. A great friend and I have a laugh on a Friday night preparing the food, usually with a playlist on, a beer in hand, and plenty of debate over whether the Scotch eggs will outshine the venison burgers. Local venison ranks highly, as does beef stew and veg soup, but the Scotch eggs remain undefeated. Whilst a Michelin star might evade us for now, we take great pride in using local produce in a variety of researched recipes. Anyone serving a generic pork pie or a sad bag of crisps should be banned from the sport. Possibly even excommunicated from the shoot lunch circuit. In fact, we firmly believe that anyone serving food just for the sake of it, without care, quality, or character, should be chucked off the shooting circuit entirely. Great quality birds might account for roughly 40% of a shoot day, but the rest should reflect that same standard. Anything less shows a complete disrespect for the guests. Great birds can't beat great hospitality, but great hospitality can beat great birds every single time. And let's be honest, there's no reason to be tight-fisted here. What's more, anyone failing to serve game harvested from their own shoot is failing the industry. It's a missed opportunity to celebrate what we do, and worse, it plays straight into the hands of those who oppose us. Serving your own game isn't just good practice, it's a statement of pride, sustainability, and responsibility. And if you can find some mates to help you prep it, it's bloody good fun too. Thanks again for another cracking episode. Keep them coming. They're always a highlight.
I vote Gordon for judge on Oblomov's fake jury service.
There's some forthright opinion there.
I mean, I put my hand up straight away and say that I completely agree with him.
Really? So you don't? I don't mind there being shoot days at a cheaper rate that are sort of no frills or bring your own lunch or that kind of thing.
I was taking his words literally, in that he was saying absolutely nothing, like no care whatsoever. So in my eyes, that looks like the focus is entirely about pulling the trigger, entirely, and that's where I think we've got a real issue. If, I would put that in the category of in 11s, I would prefer to sit in my car. People.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Emily, from the picking up line, I expect you get quite a variety of 11s experiences. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, from where I started, from the estates that I used to work in as well, some of them are very fancy, I would say, and produce incredible 11s and incredible lunches. And it definitely makes the day. It definitely adds to the day. And we always served grouse that was sometimes shot that morning. And the guests absolutely loved that. And the children as well. They'd have their kids with them, and it gets them into eating game. And I mean, your day on Saturday, George, the food was fantastic. We had fresh food, fresh game. It was great.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So when you were in those early days on the estates that you were working at, were beaters and pickers up all invited along to 11s, or was there a sort of separate 11s laid on for, as it were, the staff versus the team of guns?
Some of them were very separate, I will say. It was very much the guns get the fancy 11s, and then everyone else kind of sits off to the side. But then I have been on estates where everyone is included. And the estate that I pick up on at the moment, they have lunches where everyone's kind of in together and you all eat together and meet each other. And it's a really nice atmosphere. But I 100% think food adds massively to a shoot day.
Mm-hmm. George, what do you reckon?
Well, Jeremy Clarkson called shoot days an armed drinks party. And although I think that's not entirely correct, they are a social occasion, and particularly a formal-driven day. I think maybe some of the more ad hoc shoot days or walked-up type shooting maybe a bit less formal, but a driven day is quite a formal occasion. There's a lot of work goes into it. It's a big event for everybody who is there as well. So I think it makes sense to make some effort with the hospitality, so to speak. That being said, lots of shoots operate on very tight budgets. Lots of syndicates operate on tight budgets. So if the collective decision for your syndicate was, look, let's just try and save costs, everybody brings something for 11s, or situations like we do with the podcast shoot day, where we say to everybody, bring something along for 11s to share. Either say to people, we're not going to do a formal thing that's catered out of the syndicate funds, but bring along your own, box of sandwiches or whatever for you to enjoy when we do stop for a pause. I think that's perfectly acceptable. It sort of depends on the style of your shoot a bit.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. But the important bit about it is that the shoot day has made the space for that social gathering. So the focus isn't entirely pulling the trigger. The reason I've got such an issue with the way that he phrased it, no refreshments, no 11s, no food provided at all, is what it does is it says, we sell shoot days to come and kill birds.
Yeah.
And that's where the thing goes wrong. because then the focus is all changed, people's expectations change, the culture starts to change. If we allow that to happen, we're on a slippery slope, which I think is the point he then went on to make. So I think whether it's not about the money, because in these examples, they absolutely nothing provided. Okay, fair enough. You could all club together and bring your own stuff. So maybe that actually allows for the scenario you were just talking about with the podcast shoot days. But I don't think that's what he's getting at here. If they marketed themselves as shoots where you sort of make of it what you will, we will suit your requirements and your needs, that would be very different to like, we literally just you stand here and you shoot birds. That's not what he's getting at.
Yeah, I'll take that. And okay, there's one bit I think we can all agree with. Absolutely nailed on. Anyone failing to serve game harvested from their own shoot is failing the industry.
Yeah, definitely.
You prepared to put your flag up for that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's such a simple thing to do. I think that it's a shame, really, and it doesn't obviously have to be from the day. It's better if it isn't. Give it a chance to marinate in something, and then whack it on a little barbecue or something. Or do it the night before and just have it in with a little dip type thing. Just again, and even if it's a syndicate, I should say for the purposes of this conversation, my mind has purely been around sort of small driven to driven days generally, like where the sort of format is, shooting break, that type of thing. Obviously, if you're wildfowling, all this stuff kind of goes out the window. A lot of walked up days, this would change. But if I went on a walked up day and there wasn't a designated part for us to sit around and have a chin wag with a hip flask, I'd be really disappointed. Yeah. If you're just walking all day, just walking
6 hours,
like it's not about that. It's just you need the social interaction to give you the energy for the next bit.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think there is this perception that game is, even on a shoot day, this is something I can't get my head around. There is a perception on the part of people operating shoots that people might not want to eat game on a shoot day. And I sort of at that point think, well, why are they there? And so I think people are a little bit nervous about serving it. They go, oh, well, pheasant can be very dry or whatever. All these myths that we've heard about it over the years. And, it is super easy.
Yeah.
And, the fact that I'm able to, on our days, that I'm able to host and also man the barbecue to cook off, a dozen pheasant breasts or whatever it is, it just goes to show that it can be done.
I mean,
and it's not hard.
Emily, I definitely want your opinion on this too, because you've been out and about lots of different places. But I can remember like a few years ago, quite a few shoots. And this is quite a few years ago. It's definitely changing, where they would sort of say, oh no, we serve like really lovely beef at lunch and we have lobster and things like that, because apparently that's what wealthy clientele want. They don't want to eat game. That's rubbish. And you think, I mean, I just remember basically spitting feathers. That
ironically.
Yeah, exactly. I do feel that has significantly changed, and a lot of these shoots now really pride themselves on, look what we can do at 11s with our game type thing. I see a lot more of that happening. What do you feel on that?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I even think a lot of people think about the guns straight away. But for me, as a picker-upper, it's also a time for everyone who works on that shoot, all the beaters and picker-uppers and flankers and everyone. We all get together as well. And everyone pitches in. Like some of my friends, they get their partridges sent off and turned into sausages. So they'll make partridge sausage rolls. And I think it's a lot more accessible to cook game for a shoot now. And I know you've had Hugo on, the game glutton. He's obviously changing a lot of people's opinions on game. And yeah, I do think there's a big change happening with shooting and with shoots wanting to show off what they do produce. It's a pride thing as well for the keepers and the owners of the quality of game that they can produce.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting thing. We always talk about the quality of the birds, by which we mean the height.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's an aspect of I'd love to see a shoot saying we think our pheasants are the best tasting pheasants in the country, and that's why you should come and shoot with us. Salt marsh pheasant or something.
Do you remember that bit of correspondence we had right in the early days of the podcast where someone said their pheasants had got into the vineyard and all the pheasant breast had stained itself red because they'd been gorging on grapes so much that they ended up with an argument with the vineyard. Do you remember this? From
No,
chat
I
from New
don't.
Zealand, Otago. I'm literally rolling
Gosh.
back 5 years of memory right now.
No, I have no recollection of that piece of correspondence whatsoever.
The vineyard had an argument with the shoot because the birds had basically been hoovering up grapes left, right, and centre, anything they could reach, and so much so that it had stained the breast meat when they eventually shot those birds. So it must have had a sort of a light marinating effect going on in real time.
Maybe this is the future of shoots, putting out different things for them to eat.
Well, I mean, honestly, that happens in every other meat, basically, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, so my friend Sam, who has been on the podcast actually, he grows a lot of sage. My brother is shooting there today.
Right.
So I'm going to get him to bring home one of Sam's partridges, and I'm going to do a side-by-side, get it, taste test, partridge from ours and a partridge, a sage-fed partridge, and see if there's any noticeable difference.
The question is, how much sage partridges consume? I mean, I can't imagine that much.
No, because they prefer grain.
Exactly. Whereas if you supplemented, I don't know if there's a way of, I don't know, there's got to be ways. Anyway, we're getting carried away.
Put a spice mix in the pheasant, in the feeder hopper.
I mean, could you do like, with grit on the grit boxes on a moor? Could you not do something with those in some? I know it's only grit, but so it therefore doesn't go all the way down. But like, there's got to be ways of doing these things, isn't it? As you say, in the feed, it'd be fascinating to try, wouldn't it?
It would. I'm going to have a think about this because there are, a lot of chicken feed, for example, has like peppers and carrots and stuff in the mix because that's what gives a really good color to the yolk of the egg.
Yeah.
So there must be a way of getting flavoring into the feed mixture.
There's going to be someone out there laughing at us.
I'm going to speak to Jamie Horner.
We don't know what we're talking about, getting carried away by something that's impossible.
Look, if a corn-fed chicken is better than another form of chicken, surely.
Yeah, the same with grass and corn-fed beef, isn't it?
Yeah, surely it works with game.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, well, that was ridiculous. Have we decided whether this is an unpopular opinion or not?
Emily?
No, I don't think it's an unpopular opinion. Like I said, I think food plays a huge part of the day, and you should be serving your game as well.
Yeah, increasingly popular. To the point of I'd go beyond 90% now. People agreeing with this.
And I have to say, it sounds like they're doing a fantastic job of their 11s. I would love to be served a venison burger at 11s.
For anyone still sitting on the fence listening to this thinking, I'm not sure they're right. Having the luxury of going to lots of different types of shoots and lots of parts of the UK and the rest of it, I cannot tell you enough how important the breaks in the day and the atmosphere that this part of the day gives off about your shoot. This tells you more about what goes on at the shoot and whether the keeper's looked after, whether the birds are fed and watered correctly. It tells you more about that than anything else.
It's a really good point, that. It's a really good point. It's like if you go on a business's website and the website's crap, I immediately think, well, these guys don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
You must think about that quite a lot with your work, Emily, actually.
We'll not get into websites.
It's sort of a shop window, isn't it? And actually, from a purely commercial point of view, the bit of the day that is most likely to be photographed and that people are most likely to be able to look at those photos and go, ooh, that place looks nice.
Yeah.
Is the 11s. You can take a photo of someone swinging a gun and it tells you absolutely bugger all about the shoot.
Yeah.
Except
definitely.
maybe some topography. But even then, often topography doesn't come through on a photograph.
It's also when you get all of your really nice pictures of people smiling and laughing and sharing stories and, everyone's having a great time at 11s or at lunch.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And when you look through Guns on Pegs, I find myself, the ones who have lots of photos of lots of fun being had, it tells me that that's what they value. because they're the photos they have chosen to put up. Therefore, I'd like to go to their shoot. Whereas the ones that put photos of their rides with Pulse out after the 1st of August, I genuinely want to examine their heads.
You mean 40 acres of pheasants doesn't do it for you?
Honestly, for anyone wondering, if you ever see any on the website, let us know. We remove them as quickly as possible. But it never ceases to amaze me how some people find that attractive. Anyway, I'm off my whole high horse now. I feel like you chose his correspondence because I was coming on and you thought, this will get him in hot water.
No, I chose it because it said nice things about the episode I recorded with my sister-in-law.
This is true. That was the most important part.
And for that reason alone, it's a popular opinion.
Right, moving on. But if you listen to this and you thought, I must message in a thought or a continuation or a follow-up or a different angle, please do pod@gunsonpegs.com, because this one's going to bumble on for a long time.
Right, so Oblomov, Gordon, and now you, Emily, are the newest members of the most noble order of the Garters, and will very soon be in receipt of a pair of the very exclusive Guns on Pegs podcast shooting sock garters. If you too have got a shooting confession, quandary, or query that you'd like us and our guests to help you with, or if you'd like to share an unpopular opinion, or your opinion on the unpopular opinion we have just shared, or if you've got a podcast selection or a forgotten drive or any of those other things to share with us and you'd like a set of garters, drop us an email to pod@gunsonpegs.com.
Will you remember to send them, George? That's the question.
I absolutely will eventually.
All George has got to do is fill out a spreadsheet. Let's get this straight. Sometimes he fails at that.
We had a good discussion about the garters on Saturday.
Oh, because Garter HQ was there.
No, Garter HQ was not there. But everyone who was there who was supposed to have a set of garters had them.
In the end.
Right, enough about me. We've got lots to talk to Emily about. Emily, I wanted to start with picking up, because we've had some pickers up on the show before, but they have generally been breeders or trainers or both. You don't really have a business angle to your picking up.
Yeah, I certainly avoid that side. I have lots of friends that are trainers and breeders and all the rest, so I leave that to them.
Can you tell a trainer or a breeder after, like, let's say 10 seconds of conversation?
You can tell a dog person, just a dog person in general.
Before they've spoken.
I have quite a few friends who are very in the dog world, and we always say it's a nightmare. Kind of avoid it.
It's so political, isn't it?
Everyone is a dog trainer. Yeah. Someone actually asked me last week about how I trained my Cocker Spaniel and could I help them with theirs, and I was like, no. I'll hand you over to my friend.
Yeah, it's like mother-in-law advice for babies. Just don't.
It's often unsolicited.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you don't have a business angle, but you do go out picking up regularly. So as an amateur, what is it that you get out of a day's picking up?
I mean, for me, when I first started, it was just really good fun. And I got to go out and meet new people and see my friends. And then I actually wrote an article about it on Scribehound. It's really good for your mental health. Like for me, my winter season is my quieter season in a lot of ways, but I'm in the office a lot. And so I don't really see people. And I used to get pretty bad winter blues and get really fed up with life in winter because there was nothing to photograph. There's not a lot of travel happening. And so for me, it gets me out at least once a week, usually twice a week, to go and see people and be social and have a good day out, really.
Really nice. And the other aspect of your time outside that I want to talk about is the photography aspect of it. Have you always been a photographer? Is that something that you developed a passion for in later years?
I think all my life I quite liked photography, and my dad had like old-fashioned cameras and things, like film cameras. So I was always interested. And then in school for GCSE and A-level, I did photography and I did darkroom photography. So that kind of got me into that side of it. And then I did have a break for a few years because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And then I came into the field sport side of it and I started photographing shoot days when I was working on grouse estates.
But so Chris mentioned at the beginning that you won the Field Sports Photographer of the Year award in 2021, I think it was. That was not for what you might call a traditional shoot day photo, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, it was actually, I think it was the first year they'd kind of added a conservation angle to it. And I entered a picture of a lapwing mother with her chicks. I think they were coming towards her. She had some under her wings and some were coming towards her, these tiny little bumblebee chicks. And that's what won. It was like terrible weather and lots of atmosphere in the picture. And so I was pretty proud that won that section. Because I feel like that was when it started to change, that shooting also had a conservation angle, which has always been there, but we've never really talked about it. And so, brands were starting to realize that there is another side.
Where you are is just so well suited for getting out with the camera, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I was in lockdown in Weardale with my parents, and it was fantastic. Like, I loved lockdown because I just got to photograph for the entire time and just spent all of my spring and summer with birds, basically. So it was great.
That time up on the moor in, well, April, May, early June, for that, absolute winner. So exciting, like teeming with stuff happening. Do you just sit in one place often?
I tend to drive around a lot, and you pretty quickly learn where pairs of birds are, where their chicks are, where their nests are. And so you kind of follow them throughout the season. And I know we're going to talk about the events, but by the time we get people up to the events, I know birds like personally. And everyone always laughs at me because I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lapwing across here and she's got 3 chicks, and there's a grey partridge there and they're sat on a nest, because you know, once they've got their spot and they're nesting on the ground, they don't go very far.
It's like this day by day then, isn't it? Because they grow up so quickly, and that everything changes. So you've really got to be up there the whole time.
They come out of their egg and they're ready to go. Most of them are basically just a mouth and legs, and they just run around and eat as much as they can or get fed by their parents as much as they can to grow as quickly as they can and hopefully survive.
And when you're spending that much time with a particular pair, or particular pairs, do you get to start noticing differences in personalities? Probably not quite the right word, but differences in character between different pairs. This one's a bit more chilled out. This one's a bit more jumpy, and you get to know the individual birds a bit.
I think it's more species than individual birds. So, for example, you know, grey partridge, incredible parents. They will not leave their chicks. They will attack you. You know, they parent together as well. So the male will distract you. The hen will slowly sneak away with the chicks. And there's quite a few waders like that. Whereas a grey hen, for example, if you disturb her, she's quite likely to just abandon her chicks and not come back. So it's learning the different species and how they parent and how sensitive they are to your presence. But they also do get used to you. So if you are observing a bird, if you switch your car off and you sit very quietly, within 5 minutes, they're fine with you being there. They know you're not a threat. And if you go back day after day, they also get used to you more.
Do you spend much time in a hide, or are you nearly always shooting from the car?
Mostly from the car. I do have, so like for a black grouse, like for example, I might use a hide. But yeah, cars, I mean, you can move around. You can go to different birds and get a lot of photography in when you're in the car. Whereas as soon as you step out of the car, you're a threat. But they're quite used to vehicles, and vehicles don't really bother them that much.
It's interesting when you talk about parenting of birds there, because whenever we talk about recovery of species, I often think about how man essentially affects their recovery, the policies and things we have in place. But actually, of course, we must also think about how likely they are to take that opportunity and run with it. Whereas, black grouse, I don't know. I mean, how much does the fact that the mother, if disturbed, disappears, given the fact that we're densely populated, affect the chances of recovery? I mean, it must do.
Yeah, hugely. And, there's also birds that parent together. So you have a better, chance of those chicks, whereas black grouse parent completely separately. So the males mate with the females and then have nothing to do with those chicks. So it's only on the hen. And like you say, people, humans, dogs, major disturbance issue there, hence why they are red listed. And the hens, I mean, they are good mothers, but they will abandon. Whereas some birds, like a red grouse, for example, will never abandon. It will always come back to its chicks.
I've heard Tarquin Millington Drake, for those who haven't listened to that episode, well worth going back to, obviously, who Emily works with here on Why Moreland Matters. Him talk about when he's been photographing the partridge, talking about the male. I probably haven't heard it described in quite the same way as you. I didn't realise they were so clever between the two of them, which kind of then makes you wonder, like, gosh, they must be so up against it if they, given those parenting skills, to then breed to a level of success. It really shows what sort of other elements they're facing.
Yeah, it's the same with pretty much all the species that parent together. The male is very much, I will distract you, I will pretend I've got broken wings and try and get you away from my brood. And the mother is very much, I will be quiet, I will call. The mothers have a totally different language to call to their chicks so that they can very quietly shout their chicks away and their chicks all follow and they disappear while the male is frantic in front of you and running around the road and
making a big song and dance. It's diversionary tactics.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. So we've kind of touched on this already. The Wylam Moreland Matters events, obviously we did record a podcast with Tarquin a long time ago. We talked about great partridges. We talked about these events. Pretty sure we talked about our experience up on the moors with you guys, which now feels like a really long time ago. But I think it was only April 24 that we were there. How did your involvement with those events come about?
I think I was there for the original conversations. I did an interview with Ian Coghill, and obviously his book is Why Moorlands Matter, or Moorland Matters, I think it is.
Moorland Matters,
and we had a big conversation about that book especially, and showing what the shooting. People always think of guns with shooting. They think of the 9 guns who go on the shoot day. They don't think about, the organisation, the economy around that, the communities, the gamekeepers, etc. And so we wanted to kind of show that off, but the events have also matured, and we now aim to just educate anyone who wants to come up and anyone who is in the conservation industry who might actually make decisions on grouse moors but have never actually been on one. They've never set foot on one to see what it's like to get their boots on the ground.
Yeah, and the fact of doing them in the springtime, late spring, early summer, is because that is when the impact of all the hard work that goes on throughout the year, that's when it's most evident. So that's why those events are held at that time.
That, and also most grouse estates have a lodge, and that lodge is empty at that time of year. So we're very lucky that the owner will usually lend us that lodge and we can fill it with people. So that kind of takes some cost out of it. But yeah, the best time to be on a grouse moor is spring, 100%. And people don't know that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, since we've done it. I'm fortunate enough to have done it a couple of times now. And to anyone wondering, that's the time. It's like,
and a lot of people in the shooting community haven't actually been up there. A lot of people shoot and they haven't been up in spring.
Yeah.
And it's definitely the time that they need to go.
Yeah, that's the first thing I said. I live in Kent. I wouldn't really have a reason to be on a moor in spring, other than a sort of walking holiday, but that's not happening with a 2 and a 4-year-old. And so I just think that when you get that opportunity, I remember thinking, I wasn't sure what it would be like. No one had sort of explained it to me like we've had the luxury of now sharing with others through the podcast. But if you get that opportunity, go. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And so those events ran for a few years, and it's now all expanding and getting bigger.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about some of the things that have already happened, and then we'll get on to the bit that we trailed at the very beginning. So you've done Why Moorlands Matter, and now there are lowland events as well.
Yeah, so we've done a few lowland events. We did one at Peppering to show that project with the grey partridge, was very interesting. And then we also did one to do with venison, to show, the benefits of eating venison and the deer problem that we have and the destruction that they can cause. And I do believe that has had some very positive outcomes. I don't know if I'm allowed to say them
Well, I
on the
think
podcast.
there was some news today, Emily.
Yeah, there was.
That the people who do the catering at some very big stadiums have opted to replace all their beef burgers with venison burgers.
Yeah, so we had them up to the grouse moors first, and they came and learned all about the shooting community, the benefits of community economy, etc. And then they organised a Lowlands event with Leon Tarquin and everyone else on a estate near Tarquin to go and look at venison and game production there.
So this is the people who do the catering, do at the Oval, cricket stadium, the National Theatre, some Premier League football club stadiums, Twickenham, the O2, the NEC. So this is like, and it's 54 tons of beef burgers are being swapped for wild venison.
Yeah, and we had Leon up. I think it was last year. That was the first time he came up, and then he came up again this year with those guys, and learned all about game. Really, they were just very interested in the sustainability of it and whether they could sell it in their stadiums. And then they did the Lowlands event, and that has come out of it, so that's fantastic news.
And I mean, it's so good to see, because if it's done right as well, if it's done right in terms of the makeup of a venison burger, you don't want it to be too venison, for the general market. If it's done right, you can basically not tell the difference. It's just better. And especially, I mean, having had a burger at the NEC the other day, I can tell you that pretty much anything's an upgrade on that. So that's good news.
The Why Moreland Matters events have expanded. You're now doing Why Lowlands Matter events. And this is all coming under a new banner, which is, I always get it wrong. You say
I was going to say, are you going to say it? So we've put them underneath conservation communications. And what we've basically learned from the events is, we worked out, we've had 169 people to the events from all walks of life, all different industries, all related to conservation, basically. And we've sat for, I think it was 292 hours listening to people's opinions about shooting, conservation, the whole spectrum. And we realised that the biggest thing is communication, really. There is a lot of good things happening in a lot of places, and nobody's talking about them. Nobody's telling those stories. So we branded it under that, and we are hoping to, share those stories. And obviously we'll have social media. We're going to set up a YouTube channel. We might do a podcast as well, and maybe some blogs, and start to tell those stories. Not focusing just on shooting. We had the Wetlands Trust, for example. They're very interested in sharing some of the work that they're doing. But it's all about sharing their stories of success, of what they've done.
So who else is involved? You're at the helm.
Yes, I seem to be at the helm. Tarquin's obviously involved because he is very driven with this whole topic, so he's involved. We have Kaz, who is a farmer. You will have met her at the events.
Yes, we did, yeah.
Yeah, so she's over in Cumbria. She's involved. Richard Prudhoe from Country Slide, and Amy as well, his partner Amy. And then obviously for the events, we also have Simon Lester, we have Ian Coghill, and lots of people who come to the events. So we've got quite a good little team going at the moment.
And I think there's a question I think people will be asking themselves, which is, how is what you're doing different from, say, Basque or the Countryside Alliance or GWCT? Or maybe the question is, how are you guys better placed to do this than some of those other organisations?
I've spoken to a lot of people who work in our, in the shooting industry, and I actually think they're very bad at telling people what they do. I think they're very bad at sharing the success stories of, different shooting ground. And the reality is, by 2030, our government wants to have protected 30% of the land and ocean of the UK. And they want, these amazing biodiversity statistics. But our government doesn't want to put money into those things. They don't have the money to do that. And obviously we all know the private money going into estates that are already producing these conservation stories, the money's already there, so they can produce it, and we can share those stories about how they are being produced. So I think we're a bit less biased than some of the organisations.
You could, in essence, help everyone else with distribution methods, like us, like Basque, like whoever, to basically share these great stories, because people like Basque and Alliance and GWC, as George mentioned, really want to share these stories. But actually, if you've got people like you guys on the ground who have got real quick access to them and can produce them, they can then be amplified by everyone else. Is that essentially part of the strategy?
I think at the moment, we'll obviously focus on sharing them through our channels at the moment, but if they get shared between them, then that would be fantastic. And I think you're right, they don't necessarily have the people on the ground to produce these stories.
One of your Scribehound stablemates, Anna Jones, runs a not-for-profit called Just Farmers, which is giving farmers the toolkit to tell their own stories.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably an angle that you guys will be trying to focus a little bit on it, which is actually who's actually got the good story, help them to tell the story. You guys have got the skill sets to be able to do that, to produce the video or the podcast or whatever it might be, that perhaps the organizations don't have the resources internally to be able to do.
Yeah, and as I've said, a lot of shoots and estates are already doing fantastic things. I think the future of shooting, as we've kind of touched on in this podcast, is going to be people sharing those stories, sharing the game they produce and all of these aspects to their shoot. In the Why Moorlands Matter events, we always have certain topics that are brought up that are negatives to or that people see as negatives to shooting. And, for example, one of them is big shoots and excess birds. But I always say a big shoot doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad shoot. A big shoot can still give a lot back to, the local economy, the local community. They can still be doing very good things for wildlife and for, winter feed for birds and things like that. And it's getting those stories out so that people understand that.
Yeah. And I guess, you made reference to the 30 by 30 thing. And I guess the point that you're trying to make there is that shooting can be positioned as the people to deliver that change at minimal cost to government.
Yeah, a lot of them are already delivering a lot. The estates around me where I photograph, I always say to people, 95% of my wildlife photography is on grouse estates because that's where the birds are. And I know guys who work for the BTO who come up here to do bird ringing and monitor these ground nesting birds that are red listed. They come up here because it's where the birds are. There's not a huge amount of disturbance for them because I don't know that many people who actually hike across the middle of a grouse estate. And they do have protection from a lot of predators. So they're usually pretty successful.
I think this is such an important thing to happen because stories win. It's this. It's like during COVID. 10,000 people dying as a statistic. One person losing their mother is a story. That's that's what prevails every time. And I think that a lot of the stuff. I'm thinking about the press at the moment in regard to that estate up not a million miles from you that David Attenborough is all over saying we need to save this estate, and you sort of look at it and be like, what do you mean save? It's actually not that bad. Like actually what's wrong with it at all? There's this sort of extreme narrative that unfortunately social media algorithms amplify because that's the only stuff that works. And what you're doing here is essentially stories that will amplify themselves because they are stories. The moment you talk too big numbers, people don't care. They just care about individuals. And that's what needs to happen for the message to get through.
Yeah, and it's also humanizing some of the characters up here, humanizing people to show what people are like in the countryside. I think there's a big disconnect between the urban population and the countryside, but I do think there's interest there. a lot of people are just, they don't know, or they haven't been lucky enough to spend a lot of time in the countryside. And there's a lot of characters in the countryside.
I think about this sort of urban-rural divide thing quite a lot. And one of the things I often think is we in the countryside sort of expect everyone to speak our language.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe the countryside needs to get a bit better at speaking urban in it.
I agree, definitely, and 100% agree with that.
But with what you're doing here, you've got a bit of control over the narrative. It's a bit like Anna Jones's Just Farmers thing. You can help them explain how to engage, and don't say these things and these things which your mates down the pub get and they're really motivated by. Those things are irrelevant to most people. Say these things. Talk about this aspect. Yeah.
Hopefully, the stories will just bring, a realism to people's lives up here. It's like Kaz over in Cumbria. She lives on her family farm. There's 3 families on that farm. She talks openly at our events about the income for that farm, which is very, very minimal. And that supports 3 families. And she also has her own rural business and everything else. And so even bringing people to these events, it humanizes people that live in the countryside and how decisions made by our government and in London affect them.
Mm.
Very true. Well, I'm really excited to see more about what happens. Have you got any projects in the pipeline that you can share with us now? Or is it all hush-hush still?
No, we have 2 up on our website at the moment. So we actually, which I'm really proud about this. The BTO guys that I talked about before, they have been collecting data on some estates. It's like over 10 years now. They've got 10 years of data of ground nesting birds and raptors and success rates. And when I say success rates, a lot of people measure the eggs on the ground. They measure up until the chicks fledge. So it's real data. And they had that data just sat there. And so we managed to get funding for them to get a PhD student to actually assess all of that data and see the patterns and bring that all together so that it can be put out to the public, and people can understand what they've seen and what they've recorded. So that's one project. And then the second one there's a company called the Origins Foundation. So they're an American podcast, and now they've just changed into a foundation.
So is that the blood oranges? Blood
Origins, yes.
That one.
Yeah.
Oh, I met that guy.
Yeah, Robbie.
Yeah, that's it. Really nice guy.
Yeah, super nice guy. I did the podcast with him with Coggers, and I think Tarquin also did the podcast with him. And so he was very keen to come over. He also likes to share stories. So they're going to come over and make a film next year at one of the events.
We should get him on. Fascinating story, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Fantastic. Well, that sounds fantastic. Tell everybody the website so that they can go and read more.
It's just Conservation Communications. Ooh, I want to say .com, but I am going to double check. I have so many websites. Yes, it is .com. I thought I would just double check. I've been working on about 4 websites recently, so my brain's melted.
Really fascinating and such a crucial time to be doing this. I think the desire or the need for storytelling, and obviously with the growth of YouTube, it continues to march on and seems to be taking up every social media platform in its wake. I think it's important to be using that to be getting those stories out. That sort of stuff will fly on there, and I think
also
really
powerful. With AI coming into our world, I actually think people really want genuine stories now and genuine experiences when they're watching content.
Yeah.
And so, we'll deliver that.
Well, fascinating. Really excited to see where it all goes. Now, Emily, the way we like to finish these podcasts off is with a game of desert island shooting. Chris, will you do the honors, please?
So the scenario is this, Emily. The extinction level event asteroid is going to hit tomorrow. However, your affairs are in order. Loved ones and enemies are reconciled. Your dogs have been fed, all 3 of them, and your tomatoes have been watered. So your last day shooting, doing whatever, begins how?
It would probably be going up. There's an estate not far from where I live now in the North Pennines, and I would probably load the dogs up early in the morning into the car with a hot cup of coffee in my Yeti flask. And even though it is a bit of a walk, I would hike to the furthest bit of the grouse estate where you're in the middle of nowhere, you can't really see any houses. And I would just start a picking up day like that. And my dogs would be perfectly behaved. Nothing would go wrong. They wouldn't run in at any point, and we'd just have a really nice picking up day. And then the best part, you get home at the end of the day, you light the stove, the dogs are knackered, so they just sleep, and you just sit and watch a movie.
Lovely. You wouldn't take the camera with you? Bit of wildlife photography on the last day. Don't forget you have the time machine, so you could zip back to the spring.
There's no need to relive it, so you don't need to take the camera.
Yeah, that's true. When I'm with the dogs, to be fair, I don't take the camera. I quite like the disconnect from photography, and I just get to focus on the dogs and just enjoy the day.
So picking up on a grouse day.
Yes. Yeah. And also having a pack of grouse fly over the top of you when you're sat in the heather with your dogs. Like you can see them coming from a mile away and they just fly straight over the top of you. It's incredible.
Amazing. Anybody in particular you'd like to have with you on the day? Any other from your picking up fraternity or any particular guns you'd like to have in the line?
Probably, I mean, I have a group of girlfriends who all pick up, and I'd probably just have all of those out with me, and we'd just have a really good laugh. Yeah. And there'd probably be about 100 dogs out because they all have about 20 dogs each. So
that sounds really quite enjoyable. Very relaxed, very chilled. And I totally know what you mean. I love it when you've had a really hard day out with the dog and you think, I'm knackered, dog's knackered. I don't need to take the dog out for a wee late at night. We can go to bed really early. The dog's not going to mind.
Yeah. It's 100% the most peaceful job on a shoot day, I think, is picking up. Because you just get to stand way back and watch everything happen and you're with your dogs.
Yeah, you've really made me realise this just through this discussion. I just don't do it enough. I mean, this is all time related, but but when the opportunity arises, it is so much fun. There's absolutely zero pressure, as you say. Just enjoy it.
And also watching, like obviously I have Labradors and a cocker, watching those dogs do their natural job. And just like I have a young Labrador who's only 1 at the moment, watching him develop and realize what he's meant to do. So I put no pressure on him. I didn't push him at all. He just realized what he was meant to do is the most enjoyable thing, I think.
And if you would like to know what that looks like from the dog's perspective, Emily's most recent piece on Scribehound is written from, now it's not Milo, is it? Because Milo is the
Bear.
Bear's perspective.
Yes.
Recounting, reliving his first retrieve.
Yes. And Bear is a very excitable character. So he's a very classic Labrador.
So go and check that article out. Well, Emily, it's been so much fun having you on. Thank you very much. Really interesting as well.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Cheers, Emily. Great fun.
Thanks.
Right. So before we go, all that remains for me to say is that there is a final reminder that you can get your hands on a pair of the very exclusive Guns on Pegs podcast shooting sock garters by sending us your shooting dilemmas for us to resolve, or by sending us your unpopular opinions, or sharing your forgotten drives, your podcast suggestions, your dream team suggestions. This list is getting too long, but you all know what I'm talking about. Just drop us an email to pod@gunsonpegs.com, and if we read it out in the next episode or any future episodes, we will send you some garters. I'll be back in a couple of weeks' time with Jake, Avian, and Sam. Chris will be back in a month or so. Until then, thanks very much for listening, and goodbye.